Alright, video producers, I'm going to go through how to finish up our landing sequence and how to put all these shots together into one final composition to turn in to Schoology. Alright, so I'm going to create a shatter effect down here so that when our super person lands, you see this explosion of rubble everywhere. I go down to my clean plate, which should be on the bottom. I've titled it clean plate. Just as a reminder, it's just a scene with nothing in it. So on this layer, I do Control D on the keyboard. You can do the same thing by going to Edit and Duplicate. So I make a duplicate of my clean plate, and I'm going to set it in front of the cracked earth. I'm going to move this back here and shorten it up, and this layer is going to be right around the start of when the person lands. So I'm going to have my clean plate shot start right where character lands. We're going to create a couple of masks, so I'm going to use the rectangle tool here. You might be on the ellipse tool, so you'll have to click and hold and get the rectangle tool. Click on my clean plate number 2, and I'm going to grab basically the sidewalk area as my clean plate, or as my mask there. And I don't want that pole to get blown up, so I'm going to do just a little mask around that. And I'm just going to check my results here. I'm going to set this mask number 2 to subtract. Excellent. Alright, now it's time to apply the effect to the ground here. In the Effects and Presets window, I'm going to type in Shatter. Drag Shatter onto here. And you get these wireframe forces and things like that. In the upper left hand corner, I'm going to change the view from wireframe and forces to rendered. So change the view to rendered. I'm going to change the shape. So I'm going to open up shape. I change it from bricks to glass. And if I play through, this is what it looks like. Now to get the timing right, I'm going to just zoom in by using the mountain kind of zoom in tool here, and I'm going to line up the very beginning of this clip with where our character lands, so right about there. Now as they land, I kind of want the shatter to go upward, so I'm going to change a few more things. I'm going to go to force number 1 here. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click on position, and I want the force to happen down here. So it kind of blows up and away from there, because I think that's how that would happen. That's looking pretty good. That's enough for that. It's revealing the cracked earth below it. And I'm also going to turn on a couple of things. So I'm going to click on this button here. It says Enable Motion Blur for all layers. So I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to toggle switches and modes. And I'm going to turn on Motion Blur for all the layers that I have moving. So clean plate, cracked earth doesn't really have it. You can turn it on for it, but it doesn't matter. The background clean plate doesn't really need it. And this top video doesn't need it. Now what that's going to do, I'll toggle this on and off. So especially for this, as I turn this on and off, you can see that it gets blurry in a particular direction. And so anything that moves, we want to add motion blur to it. So this layer, the character flying in, and probably clean plate 2 as it's shattering, so that we get that effect of those pieces moving. Lastly, if there are any other kind of like powder bursts or flames or explosions that you want to use, you can go to the THS folder, Pickup, Art, Video Production Pickup, VFX, and you can use any or all of those however you see fit. They're really fun. They're pre-keyed. You just drag and drop them into where you want. To finish this up, we're going to make one more new composition. I'll just call it Movie. And I'm going to put both of my compositions in here. So I'm going to put in this one where I have the character come in, and inside of this composition I have a close-up shot, so I show that as well. And then I'll also have, before that, I'll have my flying through the air movie that I'll put in there. Lastly, in this new composition that we made that I called Movie, I want to make sure that I turn the audio buttons off. So, especially on the Superflight, the audio that came with it was really just that really loud leaf blower, so I'm going to turn that one off. And then on this movie, there's a lot of talking in the background, and I'm going to turn that off as well. So it just has this, and then I put in some music, Remember the Heroes. You can find that on Schoology, download it and put it in, and that just gives it a nice background music for the whole thing. I'm going to set my work area to wherever it finishes off. I'll File, Export, Add to Render Queue. Click on the word Lossless. Change this from AVI to H.264. Make sure I click the audio output. Click on here, it might say not yet specified, but I want to make sure it goes to the desktop, and it's, you know, your name and project name. So, Grandland Super. Save it, render, and turn that in. Good job, animators.